Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
The Chinese virus is not going to go away with the emergence of Joe Biden as president. Therefore, we can learn to live with it or somewhat exist behind closed doors and eventually die. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by, I want some patriots to step up and do the pledge. Come on. Good morning. And a good morning with a kind of a froggy throat on occasion. I apologize for that. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with absolutely the best in tires and service. And of course, let's not forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and talk to a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Ask and you shall receive.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My friend, you called back. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Right now, we're going to run down the path to the weather, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Roger and the crew, they've got all the excavators for the water lines, and they've got all the water pumps for the rain in case you're standing knee-deep in all your water. I'll tell you what, they've got everything over there. The rental of the best tools and equipment for both long and short term. K&R Rental. These are good people. And the number to call, 678-3122. K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the forecast.
Expect a wet day for today. 50% chance of rain showers is what we're looking at. Expecting a high of 54 tonight. Slight chance of rain showers. That's going to be tapering off. Low of 33. Tomorrow looks like sunny skies. High of 46 with an overnight low of 24 by Friday. Mostly sunny. 39. Pretty much mirror that for Saturday. Sunny in upper 30s. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental. It's really mild out there right now, but it looks like it is going to precip on us. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Right there, smack dab on the Burley-Paul Highway. If you miss them, you shouldn't be driving. Number to call, 678-3122. K&R Rental. You get a hold of them today. Want to also remind you about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, and they're located, they've been there for almost 7 decades. It's 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And, of course, the number to call, 678-0459. They get there early in the morning at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, and literally all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs with very efficient professional people serving you. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. And before we take our first call, I also want to acknowledge some really good people that, they've doggone sure weathered the storm with the COVID and the shutdowns, the lockdowns, and everything else, and they deserve our patronage. And I'm talking about America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Absolutely delicious breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts, and now they're serving the turkey dinners with delicious pies. Oh, it's phenomenal at Denny's Restaurant. You stop in, great people serving you at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Caller, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jeb. I listened to the news last night. I come to the conclusion we need to break up all the medias in this country. Only one person can own a media or a piece of a media. You can't own two pieces of any media. In other words, if you have a magazine, you can have a magazine. No other media. If you got a newspaper, you can have a newspaper. No other media. If you got a TV station, you can have a TV station. No other media. If you got a radio station, one person or one group can own that, but nobody else in that group can own any other media. I think it's a monopoly. I think it's crooked. I think it's dishonest. And I think it's horrible. I think we need to cut our congressmen and our Senate back to one term for at least 25 years and no more. And they cannot spend more than 1 month's wages to get elected anywhere for any reason.
Wow. You've got a litany of things, and I would argue with you a little bit on the ownership because of the fact that I think what you would do, and when you think about this a little bit, Jerry, before you go down that path, you're actually destroying the freedom of more capitalism in this country. You're absolutely against the freedom of growth and capitalism and providing more jobs. So I think you better think about the ownership factor and the stymieing of increasing capitalism.
Well, I think the dishonesty overrides what happens with capitalism in this country right now. It just terrifies me to think what's happening with Twitter and Facebook and a lot of our TV stations, NBC, ABC, CBS, and these guys. They've just completely gone and become corrupt. And the only way you're going to stop corrupt is to stop it in the coals right from the start.
All right. Well, Jerry, I know where you stand, and I always appreciate your call in the morning. Thank you so much. God bless you, my dear friend. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate it.
You bet. You have a wonderful day, too, and may the Lord bless you and everybody that calls in behind you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jerry. I know his concerns, and, of course, that goes right to the high-tech, Twitter, of course, Facebook, and Google, etc. I understand where he's coming from. But then also, I don't want to live in a society that says thou shalt not own anything more, thou shalt not try to exceed these barriers, thou shalt not do this. I just don't want to see free enterprise and capitalism stymied. I worry about that. I admit, on the other hand, these goons, and they are, that are the heads of the tech companies like Google, Facebook, and Twitter, absolutely need more than a slap on the wrist. They need a punch elsewhere. They absolutely lied at that Senate hearing yesterday. It's a conglomerate that was out to get Joe Biden elected as president and stymie and stop and hurt and curtail anything about President Trump. Absolutely a fact. Caller, I'll be right there. Please bear with me. I've got to tell everybody about Happy Thanksgiving from Baker Brothers Pump Service, 103 West, 500 South of Burley. Oh, these people are good. We used them again not too long ago, and I called them up, and man, the next thing I know, they're knocking on the door. Great service. 24-hour service from Baker Brothers Pump Service, 678-9042. And Mountain Transmissions, 1140 146 East Main in Burley, right across from Stokes Food Center. Don't forget the very best of taking care of your transmission problems. Give them a call. Stop in. 678-9110. And, of course, our old buddy Jeff over at Magic Valley Irrigation. Location, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Number to call, 678-3101. And they just want to tell everybody thank you for your business, and hope you have a great and happy Thanksgiving. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. It's another morning in America.
Amen, buddy.
Okay, I am so proud of our president to have the foresight that when this COVID thing came up, that he turned it over to the governors. I think that was a good move. But when you got tyrants like Governor Cuomo of New York, that's just ridiculous. And let's take the state of Idaho. We had a brief shutdown, too. But some of the things that they've imposed on people have driven people out of business. And one point that I'm going to bring up is a business of Sweetheart Manor, who's been in business for 60 years. And they were completely shut down, and now they've got to go find a job. That is just wrong.
Well, stop. We can go on with a dissertation about this for the next hour. I'm not going to do that because I agree with you. I absolutely am not going to. Listen to my words very carefully, you and everybody out in the audience. If there is another purported shutdown, and everybody says you've got to close your doors, you can't go here, you can't go there, I'm asking people right now to ignore it. I'm asking people to stay with their doors open. And I'm also, and you've heard me say this so many times, Keith, reiterate with me, I've said to wear the mask when you're out in public. I've said to take all the precautions as far as the hand sanitizing and social distancing. I am not opposed to that when you're out in public. I believe in protecting each other, but we have to leave our businesses open. Another shutdown is going to absolutely kill small businesses that'll never come back.
I'm 100% behind you on that. In fact, you took my thunder. But I will publicly say this, that if Governor Little has another shutdown, put me on the list of being a recall.
I am working. I've got to call his office back right after this program. I'm going to try to get him on tomorrow for a very short interview. Unfortunately, I'm all booked up. I'm booked 2 weeks in advance on this program. But as far as mask mandates are concerned, I would like somebody out there to explain how and why and where. I mean, are you talking about a mask mandate from the time I get out of bed in the morning to put the mask on in my own home? And I'll put a caveat right there. Some of these governors that are Looney Tune Democrats are already advocating that people need to wear a mask within the confines of their own personal home. This is asinine and ridiculous. And the word required versus the word law. A lot of governors have gone over the railing of their sailing ship and jumped into the ocean trying to dictate without law. I'm just upset about this whole thing, Keith. I know you are too, but we've got to take precautions, but I'm sick and tired of government coming into my home or trying to and telling me how to live 24/7, 365.
I agree with you 100%, but let the listeners know that a mandate is not the law.
That's right. I've said that. You've heard me say that over the many, many days. A mandate is not a law. And I am sick and tired, and I will emphasize this. And if it's Governor Little, I'll go head to head with him right here on this program. He cannot mandate something as if it's a law. Neither can Cuomo, neither can Newsom, neither can anybody else in this country. I am sick and tired of people kowtowing to politicians that want one word, control.
You know, and the last thing I'm going to say is hooray for Kristi Noem of South Dakota. that woman has got guts.
I can't argue that. I think she's absolutely a poster girl for what a governor should be doing.
So our governor should be listening to her instead of Isley.
Nobody should listen to Isley. We're talking about a cartoon character that wears a suit. He's absolutely ridiculous. Keith, God bless you, man. What?
I'm comparing the worst for the best.
Yeah, you sure did. I'll tell you that. God bless you, man. Thanks. I got to run. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this a little further. I appreciate Keith's call. Dino Septic Service, I want to remind you, septic tank pumping, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, septic inspections, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. The list goes on and on and on and on about the services they provide to you for jobs you don't want to get involved in. No. Dino Septic Service with the latest and all the new modern equipment to serve you. Let me tell you, they do serve you. How do I know? They've been here to work for me. Excellent people. Call 436-6526 or 678-1638. Twin Falls 735-8281. Dino Septic Service, you better believe it, with the big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. There has been a postponement of the C.H. Snyder Estate Auction, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. It was going to be at the Filer Fairgrounds this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. and has been postponed. For those of you that were planning on attending, it has been postponed, not canceled, postponed. And stay tuned, and I'll tell you when they're going to try that again. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
My friend.
Well, we've got millions of vials of this anti-COVID coming up there. So what's the big panic? After people start getting these vials, injections, there shouldn't be any problems with opening up the businesses or anything else.
Well, the vaccination, okay, Tony, I'm glad you brought this up. The vaccination, in my humble opinion, is one that I have a little bit of mixed feelings about. Number one, I don't know really if it's going to work for all age brackets, all conditions, and what the side effects might be for the elderly, those that have a weaker immune system, those that have pre-existing conditions, heart problems, kidney problems, etc. There's a lot of questions I have. I will say, just like I said in the opening remarks, and I meant it, that this Chinese virus is not going to go away. It's a virus. Everybody knows viruses. They may mutate, they may go into other forms, but they ain't going to leave Dodge City. And we're going to have to learn to live with this virus or stay behind closed doors forever and die.
Well, it's going to be like the flu. Every year, you're going to have a shot.
Yep.
To keep going.
Yep.
There's no, that's you don't have to be a brain surgeon to understand that. Like you say, this thing is here with us to stay.
Well, I just do
a vaccination every year. You're going to have to go for one.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
What we need to do is look, it's like playing poker. We need to look at all the cards, study the cards, see what's on the table and everything, and play our best hand. But right now, I am fed up with these dictates of thou shalt not have Thanksgiving. We will come to your door and arrest anybody that's there over 10 people. This is insanity, Tony. Come on.
You know, how many other diseases we have out there, and there's vaccines for them, and none of them are 100% effective.
Yep. 100. That's right.
You don't leave it.
I agree with you. And somebody said something to me the other day on the phone in regards to this vaccine, and I said to them, please remember when poliomyelitis was a dreaded disease spreading all over the United States and, for that matter, the world. Polio. And the Jonas Salk vaccine came onto the scene, and it saved so many lives. I guess I'm kind of wishful in thinking that it would have happened a couple of months earlier so I wouldn't have to have had the encumbrance of polio in my family and with me. But the same with this coronavirus. We need to check the virus out. We need to get the best sources. We need to talk to our doctors. We need to talk to our pharmacy people. We need to get all the information we can, and when it becomes available, let's go for it. I'm sick and tired of the sitting back saying we can't go to a baseball game. Oh, because somebody might have the virus. This is insane.
Well, if that's the problem, then just do what the politicians are doing. Go to another state for your lunch.
Or take a junket to Hawaii paid for by lobbyists. These Democrats are such phony liars. That's the only words I can use. Phony liars. And I don't care who's offended by that because it's true. Gavin Newsom goes to the richest, most fancy restaurant, literally, I hear, in the United States. And then he goes afterwards and says, oops, I shouldn't have done that. Well, he got caught or he wouldn't have said anything. And then others have a junket to Hawaii.
To it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate your call. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. I tell you what, it's just phony. Phony. And like I said with the Biden campaign and Biden and Harris, if you think all of a sudden after Inauguration Day on the 20th that the 21st all of a sudden the virus is gone, no, it's not. Nor are any of our problems. And I would even venture to say that the next day on the 21st, our problems are going to be exacerbated tenfold. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey's today, Ramsey Heating and Electric, at 678-0459, or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Oh, by the way, too, I want to remind you about this. Everybody looks forward to it. On Mondays at 8:30, we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert, right there on the square. And, of course, a great restaurant, great bakery. Oh, you're going to love the cookies. It's that time of the season to enjoy cookies. I'll take plain sugar cookies, please. And you might be the winner. Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. Great, great food. Caller, good morning. Oh, I got to check with Sean. Do we have a caller waiting? I thought I heard the moo. Now he's probably on the phone. This is the time for all Americans to stand up. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. You may not agree. That's fine. Stand up and tell the government in no uncertain terms, get out of our lives and stop the control and stop lying to us. No one has the power to stop you from celebrating a holiday with your family. No one. No one has the power to stop you from going to church. No one. No one has the power to threaten jail or fines for having your family in your home. No one. No one has the power to tell you to wear a mask in your home or on your property. No one. No one has the power to tell you only 2 hours for your Thanksgiving day with the family. No one. Do not, and I emphasize, do not listen to these power-hungry zealots that all they want to do is control you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, it's just me again, Zeb. This is something. When a crime is committed, it goes on and on and on until all the facts come in, and then the jury will come in, and they'll determine what's going to happen with it. It might take a year, 2 years. As far as this voting goes, that's been a major crime against the United States and everyone that's out there voting. Why can't
Donald Trump stay in power for another couple of months until this whole thing is, finished up.
Well, Tony, no states, to my knowledge, have even certified their ballots and their vote count yet. And when you have states like Pennsylvania and states like Georgia and others that are up in the air right now with a changing of the vote count and the finding of more ballots, like they found almost 6,000 ballots in Georgia, absolutely without the certification, why should the president concede? And by the way, let's call it like it is. If you'll think back to Al Gore, he didn't concede or do anything until mid-December over the little bitty hanging chads. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Hey, man, I appreciate your call, Tony. Thank you. God bless.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm kind of sick and tired about it's 2 weeks after the election, and oh my goodness, the New York Times and the Democrats and some of these so-called op-ed writers, and we've got some of the trashy writing that they put forth in our local newspaper. Oh, he'd better get out of there. Why, he'd better jump out of the door today and let Biden in. Listen, read the story this morning by the Associated Press. And the Associated Press absolutely, and it goes without saying, despises Donald Trump. Caller, stand by. I'll be right there. Here's the first paragraph in a story this morning they had on the front page of our illustrious Times News. President Donald Trump's refusal to cooperate with his successor is forcing President-elect Joe Biden to seek unusual workarounds to prepare for the exploding public health threat and evolving national security challenges he will inherit in just 9 weeks. This story goes on and absolutely tries to crucify President Trump and his administration, and I'm fed up with it. Let's just revert back to history and see other questionable vote tallies, other questionable voting methods, and especially going back to the Al Gore mess with the hanging chads. And that lasted until, I believe, don't stand behind this, Zeb, it might fall on you, December the 14th, which is still a little ways off. It's only been 2 weeks, and there are challenges, and there are questions. Let's make sure that we get the right answers. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Do you agree or disagree with me?
I agree with you 100%. If we have a government that is representative of the people, by the people, and for the people, and if the people can't have confidence in their election that it was fair, and that's what the people decided, not, illegitimate, like voter machines flipping stuff, and we seeing voter fraud everywhere, then we don't have a government of the people, by the people, and for the people.
No.
We have a dictatorship.
That's right.
A banana republic.
Well,
but I see, Michigan's Wayne County certifies their election.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think they withdrew it.
All I'm going to say is, and there are those that live here that are dyed-in-the-wool Democrats and that Joe Biden can walk on water and Kamala Harris can walk on water. Well, the only reason they can say that is because they know where the rocks are. They're not going to lead us out of this pandemic. They're not going to do anything, but with the economy, this is what really bothers me. And I want you to respond to this. If you are coming in and denigrating everything that Trump did for the economy, now think carefully about this. For the last 4 years, up to the Chinese virus coming into our country, and for that matter around the world, whose economy was growing in leaps and bounds like none other ever? Whose economy was it?
President Trump.
Oh, okay.
The lowest unemployment for all minorities and women in history.
Okay, so then let's go a step further. How can Biden and Harris say that they are going to implement different issues and items that are going to make the economy great? It's been the greatest ever until the Chinese virus. Are they going to implement a better economy with, let's try higher taxes for everybody? Oh, gee, let's take a look at green energy and add trillions and trillions of dollars into a maniacal attitude of replacing fossil fuels and trying to push tractors down the field with a propeller? Are they going to try to change everything in the economy with green energy or lockdowns? Dougie, it ain't going to work.
It ain't. You cannot grab a hold of a bale of a bucket that you're standing in and lift yourself off the ground. You cannot tax your country into prosperity. It is a proven fact, and it's tried over and over again in several countries. And what happened? They fail.
Absolutely.
I mean, and then did you read that email I sent you yesterday about President Trump's September 2018 executive order?
I've got to be really honest with you. I did not see it. I apologize. I was out of the office all yesterday afternoon. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, when you get a chance to look at it, it is an executive order about foreign interference in the United States elections and what can happen to them.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is this thing. There was a lawyer come on and had a video explaining it, reading it, and this thing has the teeth of a Rottweiler.
Yeah.
And I mean to tell you, President Trump is going to pull the hammer down on these people. He's seen this in 2016, what was happening, and he got together with some people and put this order that there's supposed to be a review going to him and several heads of his company, of the administration.
Yeah.
And that's why he fired the gal over at the Homeland Security. Was it Homeland Security or?
Are you talking about Sally Yates?
No, not Yates.
No,
It
okay.
was another gal that he just recently let go.
Okay.
And then he just let another guy go. They were supposed to get a copy of this too. So he is setting it up to where I think he is going to pull a hammer down once everything is revealed. And these countries that run these machines, because our votes are sent to Germany.
Which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. I even have heard that there were other countries involved in basically, with the computers and the software, they were being branched through other countries other than Germany.
Yes. Spain is involved.
Yes.
Canada's involved in it. I mean, this world does not like President Trump because he is against one world order. He's against one world government. He is for America and America first.
Amen. Doug, listen, I know you'll understand. You're a dear friend, but I've got calls stacked up. I've got to run. Give us the deal about the seniors, please. I've got to run. Thank you.
Okay. The senior center, and then I have a quote for the day. Everybody, let's do what we can for the senior centers. It's becoming, it's the giving season now. It's the fall of the year. Christmas is coming, the birth of our Lord Jesus that we celebrate. So put the senior centers wherever you live. There's senior center close to you. Put them under your Christmas tree with a gift and deliver it to them. And go eat there and leave with a full tummy and a full heart.
God bless you, Doug. I always appreciate your call. Thank you very much. Caller number 2, I'm a-coming. I got to get this in. I'll be right there. Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 West 1000 South of Burley, 678-7324. They say thank you to all their customers for this past year and look forward to serving you in 2021. Golden Valley Warehouse saying, of course, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Another lady that wishes you a very happy Thanksgiving, Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Oh, don't forget, she's got gift certificates that make great stocking stuffers for Christmas that can be used for next spring, summer gardening. Absolutely. Vicki at Vicky's Country Garden, 431-5667. And AMI, 719 Overland Avenue in Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door. Go nuts over their bolts. They are the meat and potatoes of the industry. They've got what you're looking for to keep you running. Don't forget Alan, Corey, Eric, and Rob and the whole crew wishing all of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you.
Good morning again. You know this word or conversation of voters fraud? I think we need to define that more, because the voters are not the one that's committing the fraud.
No, that's not true.
Stupid machines that they bought from a foreign country, and they got people manipulating those machines.
Well, wait a minute.
People who voted.
No, Keith, that's not true. And you and I are such good friends, I can come in and say that that's not true. There are branches of the problem that extend to the voters and to the machines and to possibly some of the polling places, etc. There are many, many facets of voter fraud. To limit it just to the machines, no, that's not true. We have instances and cases. There was a woman in Detroit that was filling out ballots. She managed to get a hold of, I think, like 20-some ballots, and she filled them out, and that's voter fraud. So let's leave voter fraud open-ended to where it could be the persons or the machines or the polling places, the way they're counted. There's a lot of entities that come in when we're talking about voter fraud.
Well, then we have a misunderstanding there, because I'm talking about the people who voted for President Trump or voted for that other idiot. That's the people I'm talking about. We're putting everybody in this basket of voter fraud, and it's just not fair.
Well, yeah, that part I agree with you on, but the way it started off is it's not. You said the people are not the problem. You said it's the machines, etc. And there's so many facets.
Anybody that tampers with those machines or tampers with our system is the scum of the earth.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And, explain something to me, Keith. You've been around a little longer than I have. But
10 years.
Okay, but here's my question to you, and think about this real quick, and then I've got another call. Elections, when I was a kid, way back in high school, ran smoother, were more definitive, and more finalized than they are today with supposedly all the high tech. Would you agree or disagree?
I got to agree with you there, bud. No question about it. It's done fairly, and the results, there's going to be people that are going to be unhappy about results of any election, whether it's city mayor or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's done fairly, it's the law, and it's just the best way it could be handled.
Keith,
it's the only country that is really that open.
Yeah. Keith, I always appreciate your remarks. Seriously, we may disagree sometimes, but we always have a chance to find the same trail at the end. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes, and I appreciate that, too.
All right, my friend. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there, I promise. I've got to get this in. Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. 3 locations to serve you at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin with Eli, and, of course, the Nampa location. And I'm telling you, they've got all the equipment you need, like all the Bobcat shapes and sizes, the trenchers, the scissor lifts. They've got the hammer drills. They've got wheel loaders and excavators by Doosan. If you've got a job that is going to tell you they need lifting, digging, pushing, and carrying, they've got the equipment for you at Barry Equipment and Rental. Great lease rates, super financing programs. Barry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Caller, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. I had a couple of thoughts run through my brain. One of them was, what are they going to do come tax time when nobody's been working, so there's no money to come in on taxes?
I'm chuckling. I'm chuckling at you and your remark because it's a conversation I had yesterday afternoon with a dear friend. I said when the tax coffers open up their drawers and there's not a bunch of money to throw in the kitty, then they're going to go, oops.
Yeah, businesses, look at all the businesses quit. So there's no business money coming in. About the only money they're going to get, unless people were really smart when they did their unemployment, was have them take their taxes out, because you have to pay taxes on your unemployment.
Right.
And I'll bet a lot of people didn't know that. So when the big tax bill comes due for them, they're going to freak out.
Well, I'm sure you'd agree with me that you probably know people that are involved in small businesses that are hanging by the skin. Boy, I mean, there's not much left to offer. And if they have another purported shutdown, it's going to close the doors forever. And then you've got people that aren't making a living. You've got people that aren't drawing an income. They're not paying in income tax. They don't have anything. We're creating a depressive society with stupidity.
Exactly. My other thought was, they're going to want to go to shutdown. Didn't Italy shut down just about as hard as they could get shut down? And now they're having a terrible resurgence, and they're all that.
Yes.
And now let's compare them to South Dakota, where they're doing pretty good,
Yep.
Okay, people got sick, but they were going to get sick inevitably anyway, whether you shut down or not. So,
Bingo.
But now they're, up and running.
It's just, we've got to use common sense. And I'll still go back to what I said earlier, and I don't mean to be redundant. You are not going to get rid of this virus. The virus is always going to be here, thanks and compliments to an inept and very dangerous Chinese government. It's a Chinese virus. And just because Joe Biden is going to be anointed as president supposedly on January 20th, it isn't going to go away. We're going to have to learn to live with it or not.
Exactly. Well, and they keep saying, listen to the experts. Well, why don't you look at the data? Compare Italy to South Dakota. Because I'm afraid a lot of the quote-unquote experts are in somebody's back pocket.
Amen. I couldn't agree more. Boy, it's nice and refreshing to have you call more than once during the week. Thank you. All right, have a great day. Thank you much. Thank you. Got to get the weather on. And the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Oh, they help me, and they can help you. They're right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room. They've expanded their facilities to better serve you, absolutely, and your hearing health. I urge you to call, make an appointment for a hearing screening, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957, the best. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect a wet day for today. 50% chance of rain showers is what we're looking at. Expecting a high of 54 tonight. Slight chance of rain showers. That's going to be tapering off. Low of 33. Tomorrow looks like sunny skies. High of 46 with an overnight low of 24 by Friday. Mostly sunny. 39, pretty much mirror that for Saturday. Sunny and upper 30s. That's your weather for Zebeth Rain.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Dr. Pickup and the staff are absolutely phenomenal. And believe me, they have the best of technology to provide the most comprehensive treatment available to you for your hearing health. Call for an appointment today, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology. I heard something yesterday that it was very chilling. It was very chilling to me and others like me in this industry. Senator Chris Coons was at that hearing yesterday and in favor of the high-tech companies. He was in favor of the high-tech companies having more of a censorship availability. In this, a free society, more censorship. And then some remarks were made that they were purporting to advocate the arrest or censorship or stopping, I don't know what that means, anyone from broadcasting or talking about or writing about the dangers of not believing 100% of what the left says is true about climate change. So, in other words, when I have notable scientists on my program that really understand the yeses and nos of climate change, the effects or the failures of what we're trying to do for climate change, that if we question this, they want to censor us. They want to censor us or stop us. And they were advocating for arresting somebody, knocking on my door and saying, you're off the air because you don't agree with some of the climate change philosophy. This is serious stuff. Climate has always changed. Those are 4 words that are really powerful. Climate has always changed. And warmer climes are better and healthier for everyone. You dispute that? And as far as man, this is where it really comes down to the rubber on the road. Man, little man, whether it's a senator, a group of senators, or whether it's a bunch of mad scientists with frizzy gray hair, man controlling the thermostat, that really bothers me. It really scares me. What are they going to pick as an optimum? 70 degrees! How is it going to happen? What's going to happen to our growing seasons? What's going to happen to our weather? They're not God. Colder climes, colder temperatures that they want are killing temperatures. Agriculture would suffer. Food production would suffer. And these nimrods don't seem to understand that we need CO2. We need CO2, not run from it. I really get upset at the lack of knowledge that many or most of senators and congressmen possess on this issue. Some of them, you really wonder how in the world they ever got voted into their offices. And then to sit there in a land of freedom with the First Amendment that's supposed to mean something, to where we can arbitrate back and forth. You've got a point of interest, I've got a point of interest. We differ on the basics, but we're going to try to find common ground. If you say anything against what they say is absolute fact, they're going to arrest you or censor you or stop you. This is not the United States that I was born into and was educated within. This country has changed. I want to talk a little bit about our major sponsor right now, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and boy, oh boy. Weather's going to get a little nasty. We're probably going to see some muck and yuck on the roadways, along with angel dandruff, the snow. So you better be ready for it, and they've got all the different tires, all the different tread designs, all sizes, let me tell you. For your vehicles, stop in and let them help you. And also, make sure you check out the brakes. They've got the best of brake technicians and front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. Oh, important batteries. Make sure you got a good one. All of this and more, along with the best in service, from James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. There is nobody better. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I've got time for one more call. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Stop and study today. You owe it to yourself and your family to really study and learn what's going on. Watch and listen to some of the picks that Obama, or I should say Biden, well, same thing, that Biden is looking for to put in his cabinet, most of which many are from the Obama administration. So I guess has-been wannabes. Many are really scary, like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and many more. I mean, oh boy. And then, like I said, picks from the Obama administration. Here we are reverting to the past of an administration that did nothing to help America grow and prosper. And now we want to go back to that. It's unbelievable. Coming up next hour, one of my absolute favorite guests, because he is so knowledgeable, and I've said this many times and it becomes redundant. I really, really wished and prayed that I could have had him as my economics teacher in high school and college. He is so understandable. Dr. Michael Busler from New Jersey, he's been featured in National Magazine. He's been on Fox News. He's been all over. He's really, really good. And he's going to be coming up at 9:30 after Dave Bigo at 9:06. Caller, I've got 30 seconds. Good morning. Go, quick.
You bet. The thought of the day, Zeb. Life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain.
Well, that leaves me out.
Well, it's not ice, it's rain.
Okay, buddy. Hey, thanks much. God bless. Thank you. We're going to take off and run to the news. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Good morning, and welcome back. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch on this Wednesday, November the 18th, pardon me, I'm one day ahead. I'm wishing for the weekend. We're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the very best in tires and service. You stop in and see them today. Along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Sean has the good words about Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Don't forget to get on the route service. Call them at 734-6969. Don't forget to get a dumpster, and they'll drop it off. You fill it up. You're cleaning up for the holidays, Thanksgiving, Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred. And once you fill that dumpster up, they'll come and get it. They are always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. You get a hold of them today. Want to also give you a great big shout out about our friends Nick Greenwell. I'm going to be talking to him tomorrow, as a matter of fact, and he's the head physical therapist of Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, and all the great people that work there with him. They know the exercising. They know the benefits of how they can help you get back to being you. They've got the only hydrotherapy pool of its kind in the area, and all you need to do is just pick up the phone and make a call for an appointment at 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Please, for your sake, give them a call today. Want to remind you, too, the community prayer rally. I am absolutely going to try to be there on Saturday at 2 o'clock. It's going to be at the Freedom Park next to the Burley Airport and Little League Field. And we need to pray for our country. Bring your American flags. In God we trust. It's this Saturday. I absolutely want to thank these people for the time and effort they're putting in for this community prayer rally coming up this next Saturday. And Deanne and I are going to certainly try to be there. Want to remind you, too, about our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, serving you and your family. And they always pledge to serve you as you would want to be served and treat your loved one as you would treat your loved one. Please remember, they are absolutely in the service of providing the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward, staff and family at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And, of course, Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Wow. let's go to the phone line. It's Wednesday, and that means we get a chance to talk to my old friend, Dave Bego. Good morning. How are you, Dave?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm your young friend.
I want to ask you, there's so many things I want to get into. I didn't hear that remark. It cut off. Say it again so I can snicker with you.
I said, I'm your young friend.
Are you younger than I am? I can't hear you. Dave, are you there? We're having some problems with the technical aspects. Let's try it again. Dave, if you can hear me, hold off. Let me know if you can hear me, please, and we'll continue with the conversation.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Now you come through. There you go. I want to ask you a little bit about the mess that we're in. And you've always been a straight shooter. We are approximately 2 weeks after the election, and there has not been a concession by Donald Trump, and I should say up front, nor do I think he should concede when there has not been the certification of the votes. If we think back to with Al Gore with the hanging chads, he never made a concession until mid-December. I absolutely think that we need to have a fair, honest tabulation of all the votes. What are your thoughts?
I'm 100% with you, and I think the president needs to keep a backbone and keep going after it, because I think it's out there. And I just got an article from yesterday, the day before, from the Arizona Freedom Alliance that says, boom, Dominion programmer told Antifa he will ensure Trump does not win, and he programmed in to have the Democratic vote shifted to Trump.
This is a rumor that is going around, and I hope can be solidified into fact. If it is, it's going to blow a lot of boats out of the water. It's going to, I think, call for an absolute revote. I don't think that you can piecemeal back Pennsylvania, Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Michigan. If the software was illegal and illicit, what are we going to do?
And like I say, Zeb, we have to, the president has to keep going after this and stand firm, and the American people need to stand up and support him, and expose the media for their lies.
Well, this has gone crazy as far as I'm concerned. What's going on in this country, and I'll say this again, I mentioned it first hour, that the Chinese virus, Dave, and I want you to respond to this, the Chinese virus is not going to go away the inauguration of Joe Biden on January 20th. It's not going to go away. We either got to learn to live with this virus or stay behind locked doors in our homes, vegetate, and die. I'm fed up with this.
Yeah, it's crazy, but this is, they're trying to lock down America, and they've been trying to do this. And again, Zeb, I wish people would go back and read my blogs back in, 2014, 2012 to 2017. And I talked about all this stuff that was going to happen, that they wanted to lock down America and separate us and destroy the country and turn it into a communist country. And this is all part of their program, and they just keep marching forward to try and do it. And we as Americans need to stand up.
Dave, have you ever in your lifetime, even though you're so much younger than I am, have you ever in your lifetime listened to governors like Newsom in California, Cuomo in New York, and others that are making demands that, hey, if you have more than 10 people at your home for Thanksgiving, we're going to get you. We'll come up with an arrest warrant, and we will come in and arrest people. I've never heard of anything like this.
This is what they do, Zeb. They're coming after you and trying to, make you back down and do what they want them to do, and they're trying to scare people, and this is what they do, and this is what the SEIU did against my company and employees and customers, and the unions and Soros are behind all this stuff, and they're going to continue doing this because that is their agenda. This is the things they do.
Is it a problem that we have caused ourselves by letting our education system in the schools not teach about our country, not teach about civics, not teach about our Constitution? Is it really boiled back to our fault?
Yeah, it does, because we've let the left and also Russia and other countries, who we've beaten the wars. We've let them come in and infiltrate our school system and our teachers and our college professors and everybody else. And I think I read you an article here 2 or 3 weeks ago about Khrushchev, who said, we are going to get you, and this was 61 years ago, we are going to get you, we're going to bring you down and turn you into communism. And we're going to do it from within, and this is what it's all about.
Yeah. That comment, as a matter of fact, I remember vividly when it took place. I was in high school, and he said, we'll take America down and we won't have to fire a shot.
That's right. And that's what this is going on. They're just trying to intimidate people across the country and achieve what they want to achieve, and they brainwash them and lie to them and say, oh yeah, it's going to be good for you. You're going to get this and you're going to get that, and boy, it's just going to be great for you. And the case is they're just hypocritical. And again, as I say all the time, as I've been through this process, people need to watch what they say versus what they do. And that's the problem, because what they say are lies, and what they do is the truth.
I was absolutely, my mouth just absolutely flopped down to where my jaw hit my chest when I heard that some of these governors of some of these left-wing Democratic states are saying, oh, by the way, we on Thanksgiving don't want you to have your Thanksgiving last more than 2 hours. We don't want you to be indoors, stand outside and eat that frozen turkey leg, and no alcohol. And I sat there and I said to my wife, what? No alcohol, no wine or anything? No, because these governors that are far superior in knowledge to you and I are saying that if we have a glass of wine on Thanksgiving, it will impair our judgment and we'll do something else dumb to help promote the coronavirus. Dave, this is insane.
Well, it is, Zeb, and this is what these people do. I keep telling you that, and I keep telling people that all the time. And it's not about what's true and what we really need to do. It's about what they want to do and what they're trying to do to us and control us. And at the end of the day, America needs to wake up and understand this is all about control.
Let me ask you, though, and this is like a little projection on your part. How bad, honestly, hold on, caller, just a second, we'll be right with you. How bad, in your opinion, if the American public doesn't start standing up and literally spitting in the government's eye and saying, back off, Jack, how bad do you think this can get?
I think it can get terrible. I really do. And they'll turn it to a socialist country, and, and of course they're saying, well, you're going to be better off because you're going to get this, you're going to get that, and do all that. But at the end of the day, and there was an article that came out about Venezuela, who turned socialist communist 4 years ago, how they were the most successful country in South America, and because they were capitalists and that, and then when they succumbed to the socialist communist agenda and lies, now more people are living in cardboard boxes and on streets and everything else than ever before.
Yeah.
And this is what this is all about. They don't care about us. It's all about them.
Absolutely. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air, please.
Well, there's so much that can be said, Dave, that right now, across this nation, we had 75, then maybe even, let's say 5 million people didn't go vote but would have voted for Trump. So that's 75 to 80 million people. So that is an encouraging thing. And then you've got the other people that voted for Biden and Harris, and I don't know if I'm wrong on this, but I think 43% of the state of Idaho voted for Biden and Harris. I mean, you know, you say to yourself, how in the hell in Idaho would anybody vote for them? But how, you know, it's even, you know, across this nation, the amount of people that are supposed to have voted for Biden, and you say, well, what is with you people? Are you really that stupid? Are you really that, you know, that you're just voting against Trump's personality? Whatever it is. But see, they're useful idiots. And so you say to yourself, well, yeah, there are people that say, I'm going to run the show, brother. I'm going to be in the ruling elite. And we've got however many people voted for Biden and Harris. You say, well, those people are pretty easy to control, apparently. And so I don't know where this ends up, but I'm hoping somehow we can swing this to save our president. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Dave.
Well, I'm with him all the way, and but the thing is, you know, again, the news media is controlled behind the scene by the left and the unions and that, and they haven't put out all this stuff that is very favorable about Biden and his party and all the things they're going to do for these people. And all this is meant to do is to brainwash these people, which they do, especially the younger millennials and people like that, who have not had enough time to really step back and look at this, understand this, and haven't lived long enough to understand this stuff. And that's what this is all about. The second thing is that I really believe that a lot of these votes are fraudulent. They were changed to Biden from Trump, and you know, the machines they used and the mail-in ballots and all that kind of stuff. This was all designed to unseat Trump, bring Biden into the presidency, and bring down America.
I totally agree, and nobody is big enough, strong enough, or tough enough to get me to believe that a 78-year-old man, could stay basically for the entirety of the campaign in his basement and not do anything, say anything, or answer any questions, and Trump is out with literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people at all the rallies, and the people are absolutely worshiping the fact that they want to reelect him as president, and then the election comes out in favor of a basement junkie by Biden's name. This is ridiculous.
Well, it is. But Biden was just the puppet they were using to win the presidency. And, you know, he wasn't the one that did all this stuff. It's the people behind the scenes and that control, like I said, again, the media and the press and everything. And they brainwashed America. And Americans need to wake up to what these people are really, like I say, it's not what they say, it's what they do.
Amen. We've got another call. Caller, go ahead, please. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, I made the comment this morning we need to break up these big medias. I still say it because they are corrupt. They are misleading our people in this country. They're telling them lies every day. There's not a bit of truth, I think, coming out of them at all anymore. They're just corrupt, dishonest, not good people at all. I'll get off the air. You have a wonderful day, and may the Lord bless you and that young kid you're talking to.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jerry. Thank you. Dave, your response. Let me jump in and say, first and foremost, I listened to that garbage at that Senate hearing yesterday about Google, Facebook, and Twitter and the lies that the leadership of those various companies gave back to the senators. And his point is true that high tech right now, I believe, in my own heart of hearts, that high tech bought the election and swayed it for Joe Biden, and we as an American public don't know how serious big high tech is.
Well, you know, I think the unions bought it because they put a lot more money into it than high tech did, but I think the unions control a lot of the high tech anyway, and the high tech doesn't want to do anything that will upset the unions, because if they do, they'll go after them and you know, it'll and bring them down, and that's what they're afraid of. It's kind of like, let me tell the story again real quick, and it's I a story in my second book, I was in New York getting ready to go on Fox Business News to talk about my first book, The Devil at My Doorstep, and I'm sitting in the lobby, and all of a sudden Glenn Beck comes walking down the aisle, and I stood up and introduced myself to him. He had all this luggage, and I said, "Where are you going?" He says, "I've been fired." And I go, "Why?" He says, "Because I did 2 shows on the SEIU, and they went after Fox's advertisers. Fox started losing revenues, and they called Fox and told them to fire me, and they'd leave the advertisers alone. Today's my last day." And I said, "Well, I'm going on to talk about my first book, The Devil at My Doorstep, how I won against the SEIU, and my second book that's coming out soon." He goes, "Yeah, I know, good luck." And here's the thing. The reason he said that, because when my second book came out, I sent it to all the major news stations across the country, TV stations and regional stations and all that. And to this day, not one of them's responded to me, because I'm sure the thing happened. They saw me on Fox Business News and CNN and MSNBC, and they called all the media across the country and said, "Don't ever have him on and talk to him, because if you do, we're going to go after your advertisers, and you're going to, go broke."
Yeah.
And I think this is what they're doing right now across the country.
I do too. Real quick, I'm almost out of time, but yesterday it was very chilling to listen to some of the Democrats, like Chris Coons, etc., say that they wanted more censorship of what we, the American public, are getting as far as information is concerned. And then something that really, really scared me, and I commented on this about 30 minutes ago. They were even calling for the arrest or censorship or stoppage of anyone in the broadcasting industry or journalism industry for going against what they say, the left says, is 100% factual. That is chilling, my dear friend David.
Yeah, it is. And again, they're trying to control things. And, of course, they threaten them behind the scenes that you better do what we tell you to do. And that's what's going on with the media. And I wish the media and that would wake up and stand up and have a backbone and do the right things for America.
I wonder, and we've got a quick call. Caller, I'm going to limit your time to only 30 seconds. Go fast. I'm almost out of time.
Yeah, Jeb, this is Dwayne. We sit and we complain and we gripe about Washington, and we, right here this is where it starts. It starts right up there in that college. We got a liberal up there that's running it now, and we just sit here and we accept it. We don't do a thing about it. I'm too dang old to get out there and fight anymore. But I'll tell you, if the people would quit griping and look at their own backyard and start there, then maybe they could change it.
I agree.
These young people need to learn history.
I totally agree. Dwayne, I'm not trying to cut you off. You're a dear friend, but I'm out of time. I'm going to have Dave respond quickly to what you said. Go, Dave, please.
I agree, Dwayne. Everybody needs to stand up in their own way, but we need to do it as the majority of the population of this country.
Amen. Boy, I wish I had more time when you're on. It just seems like, and it's all gone. My goodness sakes, Dave Bego back in Indianapolis, Indiana. And God bless you. And next week we'll be talking to you before Thanksgiving. And I hope you celebrate with your family and enjoy a turkey leg indoors. Don't go outdoors.
Well, that's the plan. Thank you.
Okay, buddy. See you later. Okay. Dave Bego, a dear, dear friend back in Indianapolis, Indiana. Thank you very much. Holy moly. Let's see what else have I got here. Oh, yeah, let's start with this. Your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric and see how soon you can get a Lennox home comfort system installed. Call them today at 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Happy Thanksgiving from Mountain Transmissions, 1146 East Main in Burley. Yes, if you've got transmission problems, easy to tell. You put it in drive and it went in reverse and back through the door. You know you better get a hold of Mountain Transmissions at 678-9110. They wish you a very happy Thanksgiving, as do the folks over at Clark's for Shopping. These are nice, nice people, and they're located at 100 East Main Street in Oakley, and they've got Grandma Clark's secret recipe for the best, tastiest sausage you ever had anywhere. All your groceries, all the quality meats right there for you and Thanksgiving at Clark's for Shopping, 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Wishing you and yours a very, very happy Thanksgiving. In just a few minutes, we're going to have one of my favorite people on the air, and that's, of course, Dr. Michael Bustler. Stand by for that. I want to tell everybody, too, about Denny's Restaurant, and you can sum it up by saying, delicious. Absolutely, Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. 611 North Overland in Burley and 291 Poline Road in Twin Falls. Oh, the menu choices, breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts, and they've also, right now for the holiday season, turkey dinners with delicious pies. Oh, knock your boots off. Great. Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. You stop over and treat yourself today. I'm drooling. Boy, that sounds good. I want to remind you, too, quickly about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Number to call, find out more, 436-4771. They have got all the snowmobiles on the showroom floor. Oh, my, what an assortment of fun for you. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2, all the snowmobiles, all the accessories, and they've got a super service department to keep you running. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. And over in that area, I'm running out of air, so I'll have to shut up pretty quick. Over in that area, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more. Todd and the crew really take care of you, your family, and your business. They're dedicated and very devoted to serving you. All you need to do is make an appointment. Call 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Of all the people that I've had on my program, I think, and I can honestly say this man just, every time he's on, he stimulates my mind and makes me really think about what's going on economically. He knows. He's a public policy analyst, economics expert, and teacher of finance at Stockton University. My friend, Dr. Michael Bustler, good morning and happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you, Zeb, and thanks for having me. As you know, it's always my pleasure to be here, and I do appreciate those kind words.
Well, you're very welcome. Let me ask you something. I'm very simplistic when it comes to economics, and you have forgotten more than I'll ever know. But where is the sense in what the Democrats want to do when they supposedly take office on January 21st? They want to implement high taxes. They want to throw at us a green energy program that absolutely makes no sense and is going to unemploy and devastate transportation in this country. It's going to kill agriculture in this country. And then they want to provide Medicare for all, free college. The list goes on. Dr. Bustler, where's all this money coming from?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great question, Zeb. I'm not sure anybody has the answer to it. And the policies that Biden's recommending now are exactly the worst thing to do when you're coming out of a recession and trying to have the economy grow. It's similar to the Obama-Biden policy back starting in 2009 when we were in the middle of a recession when they got sworn into office. And instead of concentrating on economic growth, they concentrated on curing the perceived social injustices. It's injustice everybody doesn't have health care. It's injustice banks take advantage of consumers. It's an injustice that there's a lot of college debt. It's an injustice that there's not enough food stamps and welfare to go around. So every time they concentrated on solving those perceived social injustices, they ended up raising taxes. The Affordable Care Act had 21 either new or increased taxes in it, and when the Bush tax cuts expired in 2011, they made them permanent for everybody except the upper class, and the upper class taxes went up by 10%. So they increased taxes in 2010 when the Affordable Care Act was passed and some other legislation like Dodd-Frank, which also slowed down the economy. So as a result of that, we ended up with a very stagnant economy. In fact, for the whole 8 years, we averaged less than 2% annual growth. That caused income inequality to get worse and the poverty rate to go up. So what Trump did when he got into office, he first got rid of as many burdensome regulations as he could, and that started growth up again. Then he convinced Congress to cut taxes for all Americans, so everybody's taxes went down by roughly 10%. The result of both of those actions, and also they repealed part of the Dodd-Frank bill that was crippling banks from making loans, which slowed down and made less effective monetary policy. So by doing those things, the regulations, the taxes, fixing Dodd-Frank, he was able to get economic growth to expand. It didn't go up quite as much as we had hoped, but it did increase over the Obama years, and more importantly, it enabled the income inequality actually improved during Trump's administration. The poverty rate hit a record low during the Trump administration, and the economy provided opportunity for millions of Americans. My students during the Obama years, they were lucky to find one good job offer when they graduated. During the Trump years, they were getting good job offers, in some cases more than one, and that's really the way it should be coming out of college. You should have other opportunities. So everything Biden is recommending, increasing taxes now is absolutely the worst thing you can possibly do. It will stagnate the economy and not allow us to come out of this recession, which so far we are coming out of it amazingly well. Third quarter GDP was just revised upward. On an annualized basis, third quarter GDP increased by 38%. The previous record was set in 1947, I think, was 16.7%. So we doubled the previous record, and Trump's policies are working. They're getting the economy growing again, and if we follow those policies, I think Trump is right. Next year, we would see economic growth as higher than we've seen possibly since the year 2000, when growth was over 4%. So Biden's policies are not right for the economy. He's also talking about spending a lot more money on these social programs. The problem with that is we have a huge deficit in the federal government budget. It was $3 trillion last year, mostly because of the stimulus package. But if Biden continues in his path, he wants to raise taxes, that may not raise revenue, because if it slows the economy down, even though the rates are higher, you may not bring in more revenue. And he wants to increase government spending, which will make the deficit much worse. His policies are simply not right for the economy at this time.
You know, Dr. Bussler, you kind of touched and dovetailed into some of the questions I was going to ask you, but I would like you to elaborate on this a little bit. You know, I know a lot of business owners that with another shutdown, lockdown, they're gone. They're history, and they're going to be dependent on whatever aid and help they can find anywhere just to keep bread on the table for their families. How in the world can a man that is now supposedly the president-elect and his administration be that, and I'm going to put it in plain, simple terms, stupid to understand that with people out of work and business closures by the millions across our country, that's going to help supplement the tax base?
Yeah, this idea of shutting the economy down again is simply not a good idea, and I'm not sure it'll even work. There are many instances, and many experts are saying that the shutdowns really don't reduce significantly the number of cases of this virus. In the meantime, as you correctly point out, with the economy being shut down, what's happening is larger businesses are doing okay, particularly those that have online retail shopping, like Walmart had record profits, Amazon is doing well. Those stores are allowed to stay open because they sell food, and they're then deemed as being essential. Well, if Walmart can stay open because they sell food, they can also sell everything else that's in the store. And with small businesses being shut down, consumers are going to have to go there to buy. Small businesses don't have deep pockets, so they can't afford to have months, which they're going through now, months of no sales or very low levels of sales, and you're right, they're not going to come back. I've seen some statistics that are very scary. The number of restaurants, for instance, that are closed and will probably not come back even today, even without another shutdown. Cities like New York City, which was a vibrant city, and literally 24 hours a day, there was always something to do, and restaurants were always open. Now the place is practically a ghost town, and a lot of these businesses are not going to be able to reopen. Look, this is a difficult choice. It's what we would refer to as a no-win situation. No matter what you do, you're going to come out with losses. So if you're in that position, the best thing to do is to try to minimize your losses. Now, the Democrats say, well, if we shut the economy down, we'll minimize the losses due to coronavirus, and that's probably true, but we'll end up increasing the losses from all the people that are suffering, not just by losing their business. I've seen studies that say up to two-thirds of people, and even very young people, are feeling anxiety and depression. There's been increases in alcohol abuse and drug abuse, domestic violence, eventually suicides. So there's all these other public health concerns, people not going to the doctor for routine care, or not being able to go to diagnose something because doctors don't want to see anybody as a result of this. So the damage, I think, will be worse if you shut the economy down and save maybe a few cases of the virus, but you end up doing far more harm to public health and also the economic health going forward. I'm really worried about these small businesses that simply are barely hanging on today. Some of them haven't been able to hang on, but with another shutdown, it's going to make it significantly worse, and you're going to see a whole bunch of these small businesses stay closed permanently. And remember, small businesses create the vast majority of new jobs in the economy. So you're looking at some negative aspects that are likely to go on sometime into the future.
There is another subject that I want to get into in just a moment, but I'm going to take a call first, and then I'll get into it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Quickly.
Yes, well, in a small county in Idaho, there were no COVID deaths at one point, literally, because it was Idaho, so sparsely populated. But because of business stress, there were 5 suicides. And so you say to yourself, when you have a Democratic governor, a Democratic mayor shutting down the state or the city, and you look at Portland, Ted Wheeler might be the dumbest man on earth. He was reelected by the people of Portland, Oregon, and he's all in on control, shutdown, masks, and everything. And he allowed his city to get torn to hell. And the people of Portland, Oregon re-elected him. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please.
Yes, certainly. That's an excellent case. So you had one town that had no fatalities, the gentleman said, no fatalities due to the virus. They shut down, just what we were talking about before, anxiety, depression, and I said eventually that'll lead to suicide. The gentleman said there have been 5 suicides in that town since the shutdown. So you ended up shutting things down when there was no coronavirus deaths, and you end up with a worse outcome, having all that anxiety, depression, and 5 suicides. Shutting the economy down is not going to work.
Dr. Bussler, bear with me on this as I try to phrase this to you, but I think there is another segment of our economy and our lives that I am going to call a tax, and you can correct me. But with gasoline right now, with a national average of $2.12 a gallon, and the Democrats wanting to implement and force upon us green energy and the curtailment of fossil fuels and going into an unknown area of cost. I venture to say that by next summer, if the Democrats take over, Biden and Harris, we could see gas going upwards of $3 to $3.50 to $4 a gallon. And that would be, in my opinion, a tax on everything because of the transportation needed in this country. What are your thoughts?
That's exactly right, Seb. So when products that are necessities like gasoline, we need it in our daily lives. It's used in the transportation of, in the trucking industry, the transportation of goods and services. When you start increasing the price of gas, it's the same effect of putting a tax on people. And where it's really bad is it turns out to be a regressive tax. What does that mean? A regressive tax means the lower income earners feel the burden of that more than the higher income earners. So what will happen is gasoline will go up. The average person has to buy gasoline. Things like food and everything that's shipped by truck will go up, and the average consumers have to pay for that. So they're going to feel it much more than higher income earners, making it a regressive tax. The energy policy, and not just the negative impacts on price and the feeling of a tax, strategically, anything that happens in the Middle East now really is not going to affect our energy policy. However, once they get their way and they ban fracking or whatever else they're going to do, and suddenly we're not producing nearly as much energy, now we're going to be reliant on the Middle East again, and everything that happens over there, we're going to have somewhat of an input in to make sure that the oil is still flowing. President Trump is trying to get us out of these wars. You know, they said we're going to be out of Iraq and out of Afghanistan years ago, and we're still there. He's doing the best he can to try to bring the American soldiers home, and now you're putting in an energy policy that is going to result in us being dependent on the Middle East, which means we're going to have to get militarily involved if something bad happens. Look, if the American public really wanted to switch out of fossil fuels and into renewables, which I think in the long term you're probably going to trend in that direction, but if the consumers really wanted to do it, you wouldn't have to subsidize anything. Consumers would have enough demand that they would be able to buy it. So just let the marketplace work. It'll eventually transition to whatever the majority of consumers want, but it'll always be done at a pace that really is not disruptive to the economy. They're trying to come in and disrupt everything with their ban on fracking and their taxes on this and that, and it's going to end up causing disruptions, which will have negative long-term impacts on the economy, and we really should hope that the Republicans maintain control of the Senate, which looks like they should, but we don't know. And if that happens, maybe they'll be able to block some of this legislation.
There is one more aspect that I want to bring up to you, Dr. Bussler, and because I've been involved in the agricultural segment of our society all my life, I am really, really concerned with the idiocy and the lack of knowledge of our so-called leaders that don't understand the planting of crops, the production of crops, the harvesting of crops, the raising of livestock, the marketing, etc., and they do not understand that if they keep making these severe increases, especially with petroleum products, and agriculture suffers, and they say, well, we'll import our goods and services and our food from foreign countries, once we become subservient to other countries, all hope is lost and we are doomed. That's my opinion.
And I would agree with that, Zeb. Look, agriculture industry is extremely important. Obviously, it produces food for us, and the American farmers produce almost 30% of the food that the entire world consumes. So not only do we need to keep that happening and keep the food at reasonable prices for Americans, but also for the amount of food that we export. As you point out, the worst thing that could happen is they raise the cost to farmers, so it's no longer profitable to produce some of this food, and we start importing it from somewhere else, which now means we're dependent on the Middle East for our energy, or dependent on some other countries for our food, makes us from a political standpoint in a much weaker position. When you're dealing from a position of strength, you can always do well. If you're dealing in a position of weakness, which Obama and Biden seem to do during their term, and Biden seems to want to do again. Dealing from a position of weakness makes good outcomes very difficult. The agricultural industry is really the backbone of the country, and we really need to keep that industry very vibrant and expanding and not contracting.
I really thank you for coming on the program. This gentleman is a public policy analyst, economics expert, and a professor at Stockton University in New Jersey, and I consider him a dear friend. Dr. Michael Bussler, God bless you, sir, and thank you for the time on the program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. Look forward to doing it again.
Thank you very much. Caller, I'm sorry, I'm out of time with that guest, and unfortunately, I've got other things that I have a contractual agreement to get taken care of, one of which is the weather right now, brought to you by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, and they are the professionals, absolutely, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area and beyond for well over 50 years. That's right, the very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, all of this and a whole bunch more. Absolutely. With offices in Burley and Rupert to serve you, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Day for today, 50% chance of rain showers is what we're looking at. Expecting a high of 54 tonight, slight chance of rain showers. That's going to be tapering off. Low of 33. Tomorrow looks like sunny skies, high of 46 with an overnight low of 24 by Friday. Mostly sunny, 39. Pretty much mirror that for Saturday. Sunny and upper 30s. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to everybody by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And like I said, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for over 50 years, and they definitely can help you, your family, and your business. Get a hold of them today in Burley and Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, quickly, you're on the air.
There is no caller. That was a misfire.
Well, reload. All right, thank you very much. I do have time for a call or two. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let me also say that your home is the one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. That's right, Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Absolutely, Ramsey Heating and Electric can get a Lennox home comfort system installed in your home. Call them today, 678-0459, or visit them, ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. There's that cow. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning to you, too.
Yes, sir.
You know, we've somehow got to convince people that food products, are not grown in the store. I mean, we think a lot of people, especially in the eastern part, New York especially, think that they go to the store, and I think that's where the milk comes from.
Well, your point is very well taken with me. Keith, your point is well taken with me, especially over a circumstance that took place about 2 months ago with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the loudmouth congresswoman from New York that has the ability to shoot her mouth off but not know much of what she speaks. She was amazed at agriculture, how seeds could grow in the ground, and it just absolutely set her back with her mouth agape, and she didn't know how that happened. This is the lack of intelligence that is going on with many people, unfortunately, that are in leadership capacity.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, how would she like to have a cow in her backyard that would give milk? And she'd have to go out and milk it every morning and night.
I find that picture more than humorous.
Yes, but she'd say, what is this thing?
It's a concept that keeps on giving. Thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate it, buddy. Thanks for your call.
You know, she'd want to know who had the patent on that particular.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's a good point. Thank you very much. Oh, the incompetency of those that are elected to serve us. They just don't have the knowledge. I want to give a great big shout out to Patterson's Electronics at 421 East Main in Burley. These are the nicest people, Curtis and Lorena, the rest of the staff, and boy, they've got everything over there. They've got all your electronic needs. I mean, whether it's Sony TVs that were $599, now marked down to $449, and they got Sony car speakers at just $49.99. Oh my goodness! And they've got all your video surveillance cameras, home theater systems, all your television, Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs, and they've even got dehydrated food in stock. I mean, this is a great place to go at 421 East Main in Burley. The number to call, 678-6997. Patterson's Electronics, open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. I want to again mention, and I mean this, that we all take a little time, put a little effort in it, and we all need to be at the community prayer rally at Freedom Park this Saturday at 2 o'clock next to the Burley Airport and the Little League Field, and it unite us as a community in prayer for our country. In God we trust. I'll be there. I certainly hope you will be too. 2 p.m. Saturday at Freedom Park in Burley. Caller, quickly. I've only got a minute left.
Okay, there's something he forgot to mention. You got to feed that cow. You got to take care of that cow so it stays healthy. You got to doctor that cow. Somebody's got to milk it. There's a lot to raising an animal besides just watching it.
Well, there's no question about that, and you're preaching to the choir here, but I'll tell you what, these people have no concept because they have no education, and therein lies the problem. They make edicts and they pass laws when they really don't have the knowledge or the wherewithal to understand the subject matter, and we've got a bunch of brainless twits that are serving in our House and our Senate.
Well, they ought to be educated, and there are plenty of educators that know what it takes to raise an animal.
Amen. Jerry, I appreciate your call as always. God bless you, man. Thanks.
You bet. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Hey, coming up this next hour, one of my favorite segments. We only do it once a month, and these are really nice people. I believe we're going to have the communications director for the Idaho Fish and Game here with another very nice lady. They're coming up and coming in the door shortly with the Idaho Fish and Game. Don't you miss it. I'll be back in 7. You're probably wondering why I wasn't saying anything, and that's because I was busy talking to our guests that are in the studio. Welcome back. Hour number 3, Zebeth Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best in tires and service. And also our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you quickly before we get underway with our Idaho Fish and Game report, don't forget Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More with a pre-Black Friday sale. No money down, no interest, 48 months on approved credit. Woo! You better check it out. They've got recliners all over the place. I mean, you better go in and try one on. You can't just buy a recliner. You know, they make them for tall people, short people, skinny people, and people like me. So you got to go in and try one on, and they've got the best assortment right there for you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. All the dining room sets on sale. All the sectionals and sofas, everything, and carpet buys that'll knock your boots off. Stop in and see them today at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland in Burley. They're waiting right now to serve you. One more quick note, and that, of course, is everything in your home should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today, and you can see how you can get a Lennox home comfort system in your home. Call them at 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer Wheeler for details. Oh, we are blessed. We rolled out the red carpet and opened the door, and these two homeless people walked in, and we have with us the communications director for the Idaho Fish and Game, Mr. Terry Thompson. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you?
Good. I'm doing great.
This looks like an association meeting of the mafia in here.
Well, I think you're referring to all. We have masks on this morning. We're here. We're going to make sure that you, Indiana, stay safe. And but yeah, we're excited to be here today and talk about fish and game.
You have been very conscientious and a good friend. And then you brought with you a very nice look. I think she's a nice looking lady. I can't see her behind that mask. But we're talking about the fish culturist.
Yes.
For the Idaho Fish and Game, this region, Daniela Ruiz. Did I say that correctly? And hold that mic really close.
Yeah, you did that correctly.
Now, you are from San Diego originally.
Yep.
And you saw the light and were transformed into a regular human being and came to Idaho.
I did, about 3 years ago now.
Really? How do you like it up here?
I love it up here. It's beautiful.
What is the big difference as far as your lifestyle, your habits, and everything that changed when you come up here? What's the big difference?
Well, obviously in San Diego, where the ocean is pretty much in our backyard. So coming to Idaho, I let that ocean, left it behind me and came here to those beautiful rivers and creeks and beautiful mountain lakes.
Were you a surfer?
I was not a surfer.
You were not
a
surfer?
My dad was.
Your dad was?
My dad was, yeah, growing up.
That's something I could never or would never do. I have a deep fear of deep water.
Gotcha.
And I don't like to swim in water where things are looking at me from the bottom.
Gotcha.
That scares me.
That are bigger than you, too.
Did you ever go swimming out in the ocean?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest fear out in the ocean is when that kelp and that seaweed wraps around your legs. That's when you kind of get the heebie-jeebies really quick. But
well, they say that Jesus was the only one that could walk on water, and I can disprove that. I've done it myself when that happens. Oh my! What are we going to do today, Terry?
Well, we've got, of course, a number of different things we want to talk about just that are happening within the region. But a couple shows ago, you had some questions about hatcheries, and so I thought, what a great opportunity when we have people like Daniela who can come in and talk about, what the job is at a hatchery, the training that they do, and just kind of why we have hatcheries here in Idaho. So she's a great ambassador to the our hatchery program because we have a very strong hatchery program here in the Magic Valley region, and it's because we have a lot of the groundwater that comes out in the Snake River Canyon. So perfect environment for hatcheries.
Before we get started on the hatcheries, etc., and Daniela's job, are there any of these items that you want to highlight before we get started?
Yeah, actually. So I don't know if folks have heard, but we have a new license vendor, meaning the way that you purchase a license has changed, and that took effect as of November 1st. And the new system is very user-friendly. I think there's some improvements that folks will be pretty excited to hear about. Just to name a few, I know what happens to me all the time is all of a sudden it's the first of the year and I go, oh man, I have to renew my license, and I forget.
Yeah.
Well, this new system, you can auto-renew, so you don't have to think about it. The system will just issue you the new license. It has a mechanism to securely save your payment information, so that way, as long as everything stays valid, you'll just get your license. The other thing that I think is just really going to benefit folks is if you've ever gone online to buy a tag, and especially the over-the-counter elk tags, say the sawtooth, they sell out in 5 to 6 minutes. Well, we've had people in the past that have put the tag in their cart. They go to pay for it, and the tag is gone. Because the old system, until you actually paid for it, you did not have that tag, even though it was in your cart.
Oh, really?
The new system, as soon as that tag goes into your cart, it's yours. You still have to obviously get it paid for and everything,
sure,
but you're not at risk then of losing it. Because I know there was a lot of people that got very frustrated with that old system.
Okay.
So
I'm going to ask Daniela a favor. Your headsets, if you can either put your headsets on or turn that radio down a little bit. We're getting feedback with that open. Yeah, that's better. You put the headsets down and wear those if we get a call, and leave everything else the same. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Nope. It's great. The other thing is mandatory hunter reports. This is a good opportunity to remind folks that even if you're unsuccessful in your hunt, you still have to do your mandatory reporting.
Was hunting good, bad, or indifferent this year? Better or average? What was the report like?
So our initial check stations were showing harvest was down.
Really?
But the thing so last year, opening day was on a Thursday. So we did our check stations were on that opening weekend. So by that time, hunters had 3 or 4 days in the field. This year, opening day was on a Saturday. So it just goes by logic that with only 2 days hunting under their belt, or 1 day, as people came back through the check stations, it was showing less animals harvested.
I see.
We will know more, again, going back to the mandatory reporting process. Our biologists will be looking at that data over the next several months, and hopefully by about mid-March we should have a much better idea of what harvest looked like.
Terry, I was going to ask you real quickly, and you've got it on the list here, about pheasants. What's the situation with pheasant hunting this year? I did talk to a gentleman yesterday that has seen, he said, quote-unquote, numerous pheasants this year in his respective area. I haven't seen any out here.
That's interesting that he's seeing them. I mean, I think that's great. We were a little concerned that spring conditions weren't optimal for brood survival. So we were a little concerned that our wild population was not going to be very strong. And I think overall, throughout the Magic Valley region, that's probably true. It is good to hear. People say they're seeing birds.
Yeah. Now, it says here that you're going to be stalking some over at Rupert, right?
So we do. Twice a week, we stalk birds. I should have refreshed my memory on the numbers, but there are 2 plots of ground, Bureau of Reclamation plots. One is directly north of Rupert, north of the cemetery. We stock up.
That's a fitting place.
Yeah, because we send a few birds to the great cloud above.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah, but luckily they go home and make a nice meal for somebody.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But we stock close to 100 birds a week there.
Really?
And then 2 miles east, over on the 400 road, over by Asequa, there's another Bureau of Reclamation piece of property, and we stock about 170 birds, give or take a few, over there. We stock it twice a week, but totaled in that 170 range.
Terry, in your opinion, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you think that with the refurbishment, stocking, et cetera, whatever terminology, you can bring back the pheasants to a degree of somewhat normalcy?
So this stocking is not designed to bring birds back.
I see.
This is just to provide hunting opportunity.
I see.
So
I see.
If people want to get out there and hunt those stock birds, they have to buy an upland game permit.
Okay.
And depending on if you're on price lock or not, it's anywhere from $24 to $28. That allows you to harvest 6 birds. It's a 2-bird per day limit. You could get as many of those upland permits as you want over the course of the season, but these birds are put out there with the intent of providing opportunity, just like we stock fish.
Sure,
it's opportunity to get out, keep hunting, and we've talked about this, keep the heritage going.
Think of how great the pheasant population would be if they only issued licenses to me and others like me that can't hit the broadside of a barn with a shotgun.
Yeah. I have not chased a pheasant since I've been back from Alaska, but before I went up, we have my aunt and uncle had a farm over in Gooding, and we always hunted there. And back in the day, if if I didn't have my limit in 30 minutes, it was a bad day.
Really?
You know,
you're a pretty good shot then.
Well, yeah, you know, that's.
Well, listen to him kind of babble and carry on. Well, you know, I mean, yeah, I'm not John Wayne, but
yeah. Well, I did get an elk this year with one shot too. So,
holy smokes! I don't even want to hang around you. I'm a terrible shot, and I'm proud of it.
Well, trust me, you know, I've been pretty lucky.
Let me go down the list real quick so we have plenty of time for Daniela. Fish and Game Commission meeting November 19 and 20 in Lewiston.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's this week. And we will be offering an opportunity for folks in the Magic Valley, if they would like to observe the meeting is in Lewiston, so they're going to live stream it. We will be live streaming it at the regional office. So if people want to come in and observe the meeting, there won't be any opportunity to provide input or talk to the commission. But if people want to come in and observe, it starts at 8 o'clock Friday morning, but that's Pacific time, so it'll be 9 o'clock here.
Okay.
And come on in. We will be socially withholding to the governor's 10 maximum. So,
I gotcha.
You know, if there are already 10 people in there, we will hold to that.
Absolutely. And the biggest people will stay because they'll throw the little ones out.
Yeah, you know, yeah, that's kind of the way it works in the world.
Hey, real quick, Citizens Against Poaching, 1-800-632-5999.
Yeah, you know, and I don't know what it is about this year, and maybe it's just because we have more people out in the field because of COVID. Our license sales were up, but it sure seems like we're getting a lot more reports about poaching.
Really?
And I don't know if that's just an artifact or if we're seeing more people reporting, but you know, we had a couple cow elk poached up north of Cary a couple weeks ago. We had several moose poached in Valley County up Cascade McCall area about a month ago, and
just left there.
Just left, yes, shot and left. So very frustrating. But you know, the thing we have our Citizens Against Poaching hotline, which is the way that responsible, ethical hunters can be our eyes in the field.
Absolutely.
So give us a call if you see anything at all. You can call that number 24/7, and the information will be passed along to our officers.
Okay, new footbridge at Silver Creek West.
Yeah, so up Silver Creek West, there used to be access, I guess there still is, by a bridge that's been locally known as Martin Bridge. There's a new landowner there, so they would like to limit access to the Martin Bridge area, so we took this as an opportunity to put in a new footbridge there at Silver Creek West. We're pouring the cement footings right now, and hopefully in the next week or two they're actually going to be putting that bridge in place.
Okay. I want to skip through these really fast. Mountain lions. I fear mountain lions. There's something about them, as much as I've been up in the hills and with my packing and outfitting business and everything years ago, I've got a lot of respect for those cats. Is there a problem?
Well, you know, last year in 3 months we had over 90 reports in the Wood River Valley of lions.
Wow.
We've already started this year. We had a dog that was killed a couple weeks ago out by Cary. So, you know, it's just a good reminder. Be vigilant. You know, we have lions. The South Hills has a very healthy population of mountain lions.
Very much so.
You know, just be vigilant when you're out. Be aware. You know, we're not trying to instill fear in people, but especially if you're in known mountain lion country, just be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. And a good eye over your shoulder doesn't hurt.
Yeah. But you know, one of the things that we're really trying to let people know, and especially we see it a lot in the Wood River Valley, is people are out recreating now, and they put headphones on, they put the earbuds in, and they run mountain trails, and they've lost their sense of hearing. Wildlife typically will give you some kind of a warning sign if you're getting too close. And, there was a situation in Glacier National Park this summer where 3 people were trail running, and the lead runner physically ran into a grizzly bear.
Physically ran into a bear.
Yes.
Like, oops, excuse me.
Yep. And so obviously they were running pretty quietly.
And then I would expect the rest of that trio turned around and said, the slowest man is lunch. I'm out of here.
But they actually, the bear and the runner actually rolled down the hillside.
Are you kidding me?
Luckily, there weren't any injuries, but
when they got to the bottom, it would have been interesting to pick each other's brain.
Yeah, and a gentleman. And this is a sad case. A gentleman in Utah was killed.
Oh my!
And they determined that his earbuds contributed to that when he was attacked. And I'm trying to remember if that was a lion or what it was, but
I find it hard to believe, and help me, because you're the Fish and Game wildlife guy. You know all about wildlife. How do you run into a bear?
I've always wondered about that one too, but I think, it's just trail running. These folks are they're covering a lot of country really fast. They're not talking amongst themselves.
Evidently.
So, but, that's because normally the sound of runners coming up would alert a bear.
Yeah.
But that one has me puzzled, and I'd actually like to talk to the Glacier National Park folks and
get them on my program. I'd like to. My lead question was, how in the world could you run into a bear, Dumbo? I mean, holy cow!
Yeah. So, So anyway.
Okay, I got to ask you these real quick, and we're running short on time.
Yep.
And we have a caller. Caller, real fast. Your response. And evident.
Other types of animals out there, like bobcats or porcupines? Thanks.
He said something about bobcats and porcupines.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't get the first part of the question.
And then he was gone.
Yeah.
Is there something about bobcats and porcupines that you want to talk about on behalf of the Fish and Game?
I don't know in context to what the caller was asking. So if you can call back, that would be great.
Yeah, we had a bad connection there. Stalking Dunes Lake, Bruno Dunes.
So Dunes Lake over in the Bruno Dunes State Park has always been a trophy largemouth bass, bluegill lake.
Oh, here we go with the difference between a largemouth and a smallmouth.
I know. Well, but you shouldn't have to bring that up because Mike Peterson got us all figured out there.
All right.
So right now we wrote and owned that to take the carp out, and that was a couple years back. So now we're letting the largemouth and the bluegill reestablish themselves and get some size back to that trophy. But we saw an opportunity to put some catchable rainbow trout in there. It's not going to impact the largemouth fishery or the bluegill fishery. So, but
I've done that too.
So what this is going to do is going to give people one more opportunity, especially in the wintertime, to go out and catch some fish.
Good. Okay, now real quick, harmful algae bloom advisories have been lifted.
Yeah, so, but look, those things got put on in like July and August.
Yeah, I remember
and now it's November.
Yeah.
So, but the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, just yesterday lifted the advisory at Mormon Reservoir, Thorn Creek Reservoir, and Cedar Creek Reservoir.
Okay.
So it's now you can go back up there and
let your dog drink the water.
Yeah, because before you didn't want to have that happen.
No. You take a dog up and you go home by yourself. It's dangerous stuff.
It is, not to make light of it, but it is dangerous. It can actually kill pets, livestock. It can make people sick.
I've heard that it can make humans really sick.
Yeah. So, and it's unfortunate as but we're seeing those now regularly every summer.
All right. You did an outstanding job, Terry Thompson, in condensing and putting forth all the information that normally, when you're alone, it takes us like 3 days. You did a really good job.
Well, that's why I sit in the job I am.
I'm gonna pay some bills here, and then we're gonna send it over to our main studio a little early for a hard break, and then we're gonna come back and spend a full 30 minutes with the fish culturist. Can't wait to find out more. Daniela Ruiz is here with us. Don't forget, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Rain for Rent at 134 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul. They sell the Reinke Pivot Sales and Service, and they have all your irrigation needs. Don't forget, they wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Rain for Rent. And my buddy Doug at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Don't forget, remember the true reason for the season. And don't forget our seniors at the senior centers. Those folks need our help. Thank you, Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. Wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Right now, we're going to send it over early, Sean, if you don't mind, for our bottom of the hour report. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Okay, we're running a little bit late because of extended breaks, and I want to say that now on the program is the fish culturist from Niagara Springs Hatchery, and this is a wonderful lady, Daniela Ruiz, originally out of San Diego, California. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It is so nice to have you up here. Okay, now the questions are already laid out for me. What does a fish culturist do?
Yeah, so my position at my hatchery, so I work at Niagara Springs Fish Hatchery. We're over in Wendell, Idaho. The reason the name for our hatchery, the spring next door to our hatchery, the Niagara Springs, is how we get our name. I'm the fish culturist there. I work with other permanent staff and temporary staff, and I'm solely there to pretty much have all eyes on the fish. I'm there to I like to tell my little cousins that I'm a fish mom. I'm there to make sure that the fish are happy, healthy, growing, and they're going to thrive when we have that release. Yeah.
Happy fish?
Happy fish.
How does one ascertain if a fish is happy?
Yeah, so our fish are actually known to be extremely stressful animals. So any sort of a feeding event, any sort of movement across the surface of the water is very stressful. So in order to ensure that our fish are quote-unquote happy, we want to make sure they're hitting those production goals each and every month. And if they do, we can conclude that they're in a happy environment.
So now, an average day for you would be to go to the hatchery, and then what do? Put a pair of waders on and wade in with your happy friends, or what do you do?
Luckily, I don't have to be in waders every day. That's because getting in there, sometimes your waders leak, that's for sure, so you get nice and wet.
Oh, my.
But we actually live on station. We're required to as hatchery staff members.
Oh, you stay right there?
Yeah, so it's a 5-minute walk to work each and every day.
Really?
Yeah.
How many people stay right there?
So all 3 permanents. You have your manager, your assistant manager, and your fish culturist, which is myself.
Why do you have to stay on site?
So it has a lot to do with our alarm duties. We have certain alarms that go off if our water levels are too high or too low. We have UV treated water at my particular facility. Some facilities have wells, so if no water means no fish.
So you're kind of a fish babysitter.
Pretty much, yeah.
You rock them to sleep at night, or what? I mean, this is amazing. I didn't know you had to stay right there.
Yeah, so it's got its work perks for sure. You live where you work. So, like I said, I only fuel up my truck probably twice a month.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, I'm assuming, please correct me, that you have different, what do I want to call, pools, or you have different containers?
Yeah, they're actually called raceways, so they're about 300 feet long, 10 feet wide, and about 4 feet deep at our facility. Every facility has different rearing essentially pools. We have tanks, circular tanks, vats, but we do raceways at our facility.
And I'm assuming, again, that it'd be kind of run somewhat like a livestock feedlot, to where if they get to one size, they go to another container?
Yeah,
another raceway?
Exactly. So we start them inside the hatchery in our vats. They get up to about 3 inches in size before we mark them outside. Since we do work with steelhead, as you know, anglers out in Idaho, they know what a hatchery origin fish is with the adipose fin removed. So we get that fin removed, and then they move outside to those bigger raceways.
Now, is all this done through netting?
We actually have a fish pump that we're able to push them with a crowder to get them into the pump, into the trailers. They're actually, and it's a phenomenal system of how.
You don't use hot shots or whips or anything?
No.
All right.
But it is really interesting because these are hydraulic pumps, so they're pumping these fish through probably, 4-inch pipe?
Yep.
From inside the building out to an outside marking trailer and then into the into the raceways.
Okay, so here you go, and you're moving these fish, and you've marked them and everything, and then they go continually according to their growth into various other raceways, and eventually, I would assume, with the last tank or raceway, it's out into the wilds, ponds, rivers, etc. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So our raceways, we actually extend them so they stay in that same raceway the whole rearing cycle outside. We start them at about 100 feet. And then we extend to 200 and then 300. So that's the max capacity we have at our facility is 300 feet for that.
No kidding.
Raceway. Yep.
How did you take an interest in this in the first place?
Yeah, so I actually fell in love with animal care about 6 years ago. My very first job was with marine mammals there at my university.
So you worked with the big ones?
I did, yeah. So I had to leave all that behind. I've actually worked more with dead fish, like preparing meal preparations for these animals, than I have with live fish. But
really?
I fell in love with animal care years ago, and this is definitely a form of animal care.
The story I was relating to you and Terry about going out whale watching, you can relate to that?
I can, yep. I've been plenty of whale watching.
You have?
Yeah, I have. Especially there in the Monterey Bay. That's where I went to college there in
Where
Santa
I
Cruz.
was.
You were in Catalina.
I was
I've
in
been there too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you're fascinated by possibly being out in a little rubber dinghy and having a whale tip you over.
I don't definitely want to be tipped over, but I think it's very, very rewarding to be out there and see what they do.
When you're out in the wild like that on the ocean, what's the closest experience you've ever had to like a whale or a shark or whatever?
Yeah, I actually saw my very first wild orca out in Alaska when I was there over the summer back in 2016.
How close were you?
I'd say probably 300 feet.
Wow.
It was just right there. It was breathtaking, for sure. Yeah.
So then that developed your interest in becoming a fish culturist.
Yeah, so I actually got my degree in ecology. I took various classes while I was in college that allowed me to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. I was involved in a plant physics, genetics lab, and then I was in part of this marine mammals and just kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do. And obviously coming to Idaho, there's nowhere, no access to the ocean, but
right.
Seeing fish, and it's a form of animal care. That's just how I got involved.
What does this mean? And I probably will mispronounce this, but anadromous? Anadromous.
Yeah.
Thank you for throwing that on the paper. Versus resident hatcheries. What does that mean?
Yeah, so I'm at an anadromous fish hatchery. So anadromous fish are going to be your steelhead, your chinook, and your salmon. Those are all fish that migrate to the ocean. They start in freshwater, migrate, and then they return.
How do they know?
To go?
Where is it? A bunch of fish get together in the bottom of the snake and they say, hey, dude, we got to start going up to Columbia. It's time to go to the ocean and let maybe a seal chase us.
Yeah.
How do they know?
A lot of it, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, it's water temperature. The water temperatures are changing along with just the water level.
And it's time to get out of Dodge City.
Yeah, and then how big they are ready to go. So, we shoot for 8.5 inches long. That's what they need. They're ready to head out to the ocean at that size, at least for our hatchery.
Cow. Now, go ahead, Terry.
No, I was just going to say, it's kind of an innate part of their life cycle. And so correct me if I'm wrong here, whatever your name is, Daniela.
I'm glad you did it.
But so a steelhead is an ocean-going rainbow trout. Mm-hmm. If you have a steelhead, a young steelhead it's the male and female were both steelhead, but it does not migrate to the ocean. It's a rainbow trout.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. So, but as soon as it makes that anadromous migration,
you said that very well.
Yeah, well, I've been saying it for a lot of years, especially in Alaska. But that part of that life cycle is just part of their genetic makeup.
Mm-hmm. Really,
that they have that instinct. It's what. So and Daniela will talk about this in a minute. When they become a smolt, that's when they have that biological urge to migrate to the ocean.
Oh, my God. I'm learning a lot. You got to come back.
Yeah, you want to know what the coolest thing is? They actually imprint on the location where we put them, so they return back to that location as adults.
Really?
I think that's the most mind-blowing thing of all that I do, that they imprint on that location to come back.
I was talking, I think, to Terry, or it was Mike last month, and we were talking about how you count these fish.
Yeah, Terry mentioned that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I see a guy with red eyes, cross-eyed, 1,
Right.
2, 3. I mean, really, how do you do that?
Yeah, so at our facility, we actually raise 1.8 million steelhead smolts. So if you can think about that,
1.8 million?
1.8 million.
And I
just
guess
at
my
facility.
obvious question would be, Daniela, how did you count the 1.8 million?
So we actually do what are called fish per pound. We take, each month we actually weigh out our fish essentially, but come release, we're shooting for about 4.5 fish to 1 pound. So when we load up the trucks, if they have reached that, we're able to figure out the numbers based on that 4.5 fish.
So you got about a, 10% slippage?
I don't actually know the percentage of slippage.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
What is, the question here is one I was going to ask anyway. I mean, is the purpose of Niagara Springs Hatchery to supply fish only to the state of Idaho?
No, so these fish obviously migrate out to the ocean. The steelhead, it's a conservation program. We're trying to make sure that hopefully one day that there's enough adults returning that they can do this on their own, that the population has been sustained and they can spawn out there in their natural habitat and just be able to do it on their own and not have us interfere.
Wow.
Hopefully. That's the overall goal for, especially the Snake River sockeye. I was a part of that program when I first got started, and they're endangered. So
I don't even know how to phrase this, but is the fish industry, if you will, growing at a status quo, lessening? What's the position of it right now?
So it's different. So we're anadromous, and then we have our resident hatcheries here in Idaho, and then you have your commercial hatcheries. So those have been extremely affected due to COVID, just because those are your food fish hatcheries.
Now, when you say they've been affected because of COVID, explain that.
The restaurants have shut down, and they just, a lot of, especially the hatchery right next door to us, they solely give their fish to restaurants here locally.
So what do you do with the excess number of fish?
A lot of them will go to like fruit processing plants, like cat foods and such. That is ingredient. Like my dog's food has salmon in it. So
I see.
And then they've reduced.
Can there be a release of those fish into the wild if you have the excess?
I don't know about private.
Terry?
So from an anadromous standpoint...
quit saying that word, because I can't say it.
So from the steelhead standpoint...
There you go.
There you go.
So there is a court case, and I can't think of the name of it right offhand, but it was over in Oregon, and it defined how many steelhead that can be released in Idaho. So there are times when we have excess steelhead, and they may get stocked out in, say, Salmon Falls Creek Reservoir, that kind of a thing. So the fish, when they are released out of the Niagara Springs hatchery, they get transported up to Stanley, correct?
Ours get put out in Oxbow. And Pacimera River.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I brought her along.
But our surplus, just like you're saying, our extra will go to those Salmon Falls. We just did that this year.
You are fascinating. Both of you do a wonderful job. And you bear with me. I've got to get a weather forecast on here quickly, and time goes way too fast. Stand by, please. I want to remind you about Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. And the number to call, 878-2248. Why should you call that number? You can call in. They'll have your order waiting for you, and you can enjoy everything from sandwiches to steaks. It's phenomenal. I mean, I'm talking great eating at Edith's Cafe. Please, they're open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9. Don't forget, Edith's Cafe at 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. And right now, we're going to have the weather forecast brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don't forget Don Scarrow and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. 324-7657. You can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and check out all the meats. Listen to this, folks. I'm telling you that they've got all the smoked turkeys. They've got all the prime ribs for your holiday gatherings. Oh, gift boxes. It's phenomenal, and it's good. Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
expect a wet day for today. 50% chance of rain showers is what we're looking at. Expecting a high of 54 tonight. Slight chance of rain showers. That's going to be tapering off. Low of 33. Tomorrow looks like sunny skies. High of 46 with an overnight low of 24 by Friday. Mostly sunny. 39. Pretty much mirror that for Saturday. Sunny in upper 30s. That's your weather for Zebra Duran.
Thank you very much, Gina. And, of course, our weather brought to you by Don Scarrow and his excellent staff at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. I got to skip ahead here because I'm running short on time. And you've got a new sturgeon hatchery coming to Niagara Springs. This is really intriguing to me because for some reason those sturgeon really fascinate me.
Oh, yeah, they're like dinosaurs. They've been around for so long.
I've been called that, too. So is Terry. But how big do you get these fish, the sturgeon? Are they called fish?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Into the hatchery?
Yeah, so actually we haven't even opened up our doors to that facility yet.
See.
The construction's still underway, but we're going to have our first brood deer come in through... They collect the eggs actually out in the wild. Idaho powered biologists go out there and collect those eggs in between the CJ Strike and Bliss Reach of the Snake River. We bring those eggs in and we're going to rear them up to about 12-inch fish, and our goal is to release about 2,500.
Are they a slow-growing fish? They do everything else slow.
Yeah. I actually haven't had the opportunity to work with them yet, so that's going to be a whole learning curve for myself.
So how big will they be before you release them, and where will you release them?
Yeah, so we're shooting for 12-inch sturgeon size, so they should be, it'll be a while before they get to sexual maturity, but we're going to release them in various parts of the Snake River below Shoshone Falls.
Below?
Yep. For now. You
don't know how big any sturgeon will get. I mean, you can have some behemoths, can't you?
Yeah, I think the record-breaking one was like 12 feet long or something. Maybe Terry knows more.
Oh, my.
It's bigger than that.
I thought it was, honestly, I'm just going to throw some ignorance into this, but I thought that I read someplace the sturgeon was like 16, 17 feet long. Am I wrong, Terry?
There are historical pictures of huge sturgeon. And, of course, I am looking for my fishing regulation, and I did not bring it because it has the state records in there. But, historically, 1,500 pounds.
1,500 pounds. Can you imagine a grandpa and his little grandson going out for a Sunday afternoon fishing and lunking on to a 1,500-pound sturgeon? That would send everybody to the altar next Sunday at church.
I've seen pictures of back in the day, probably when maybe you and I were both little kids, when they used teams of horses to pull.
I've seen that.
They would put like whole chicken carcasses on hooks, and then they do a set, leave it overnight or whatever, and then tie the rope to the tree or whatever.
That's kind of like alligator hunting. They do the same thing in the bayous down in Louisiana and Florida. Yeah. They'll put chickens on a hook, and then the gators come up and get them. What normally do they eat, though, the sturgeon?
Yeah, so typically anytime I've gone sturgeon fishing, we'll use morts, essentially, dead fish tissue to get their attention.
You don't look like a girl that would handle all these dead carcasses, but you like this.
Yeah, I do.
Like this stuff.
I don't smell it anymore. People will tell me that I smell like dead fish, and I can't even tell anymore because it's my everyday life.
If a person catches a sturgeon, though, you can't keep them, right?
Correct.
It's catch and release.
Yep.
Now, how does one go about releasing a 1,500-pound sturgeon?
So if you're lucky enough to get it in, that's the challenge in itself. The one time I went sturgeon fishing, it was about 30 minutes before I got that fish to shore. So it puts up a fight. I mean, it's amazing.
Do they fight at all?
Yeah, they do. They'll jump out of the water, clear out of the water.
Sturgeon?
Yeah.
I thought they just basically laid on the bottom and said, "Not today, Frank."
Yeah, no. As soon as they're hooked on, they're trying. You're trying to wheel them in, and they're just like, "I don't want to go," and they're jumping out of the water. I think that
would cure a lot of addictions if a 1,500-pound sturgeon jumped out of the water.
Yeah, I know quite a bit of people here in Idaho that live and breathe sturgeon fishing.
Really? Well, now, how big a hook do you use?
Ooh, the one time I went was with a buddy who had it all.
Terry?
I'm gonna, the ones I have been talking to, it's either a J hook or a circle hook, and,
really?
And I think, probably a 1/0 or a 2/0. I shouldn't.
And instead of a line, do you use like telephone cable?
100-pound is probably a good size.
Really?
I brought my halibut gear down from
just for the halibut.
Yeah, just so that I can use that when I fish for sturgeon. I did want to say 1,500 pounds is not the norm. Probably a 4 to 5 foot sturgeon, I would say, is a pretty typical fish.
Still a big fish.
Oh, it is, and they fight really well.
I did not know that. Honestly, I learned that. I got to tell everybody about our major sponsor before I run out of time, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for your wintertime driving, and it is here. Don't forget, the very best of all the tires for all the vehicles, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries, all there at all the 7 locations: James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line and Twin, Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. Don't forget to stop in and let them serve you today. And batteries really important right now with the colder change in the weather. You be sure and stop in. They've got the best at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Terry, I'll let you go first. Final thoughts before we wrap it up today.
Well, I don't have much to say other than I hope everybody.
That'd be a first.
Yeah. Wow. No, but I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. I know it's going to be a little bit different this year with many families. I know my family is kind of going to stay separate, but stay safe, stay healthy, but at the same time enjoy any time that you can be with your family.
Thanks, Terry Thompson, Communications Director of the Idaho Fish and Game, and now Daniela Ruiz, the Fish Culturist. Real quick, final thoughts.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me.
Please come back.
Yeah, this was fun. I had a good time.
I've enjoyed learning from you. Come with Terry if you would another time.
Sounds
please.
Good. I do want to let everybody know who's listening. Once COVID blows over, we'd love to get people down to our hatchery. We give tours of the steelhead and the sturgeon, and it's awesome to show our story, share our story with everybody and get a better understanding.
Thank you very much. I found a Bible verse that we always end the program with that is fitting to have our fish and game here this morning, and it goes politically and also for wildlife. A wicked ruler is as dangerous to the poor as a lion or bear attacking them. There you go. Proverbs 28, verse 15. And especially to the dumb marathon runner that ran into a bear. Anyway, tomorrow we'll be back here at 8:06. Don't forget, the way things were are the way things ought to be. And the 4 words that mean the most to us: in God we trust. Adios, amigos. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06.